Marie here, back with another video. Please don't forget to subscribe. I want to remind you about that because it helps me out a lot. Today we're going to talk about methamphetamine. Other street names is Ice, Clear, Sky. There's many street names that people use. People can be talking about this in front of you and you'll never even know. The thing I want to talk about is well, the reason why I want to talk about this is because it's a very sad drug to see somebody on. It's a sad situation to begin with, because if you've ever seen anybody on a full-blown meth high tweaking, it's a sad situation to see. It's nothing you want your kids to see, that's for definite. First thing I want to talk about is the levels to it. What we're going to talk about, I have some notes here. I'm going to tell you things of my experience and also medical facts. You can Google these things. I'm going to insert some clips and all this good stuff. And for my face, you know, some makeup and drug addiction shows. So I did, tomorrow's Halloween, so I did some makeup Halloween, so y'all don't think I'm done got beat up or anything. But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the 7 levels of it. This might be a longer video than I planned, but a lot of people want to know why would you choose meth. I don't feel like it's a choice to anybody. It's just like it's a last resort because of how cheap it is. It's really easy to get. Everybody's making it. It's a man-made drug. It's there's people that's making it with wasp spray, Raid, roach killer. Is so dangerous, and you can, for you just to know that, you can understand how when you see somebody in a tweaking state, we all call it tweaking when you get to a certain point. It's, whenever I got on it, it was just a drug that I could only afford. It's not nothing that I chose. It wasn't my drug of choice. It's just something you can afford, and it's really sad because people just, you can find it anywhere. I'm telling you, schools, businesses. It's really sad to see. The first thing about meth is it left me with a lot of aftermath. I already had congestive heart failure before I had started methamphetamines. The reason why I started methamphetamine is because my drug of choice was always painkillers, pills, and it got to be where I couldn't afford them. So, and I knew definitely to be an addict, I don't know, I guess I chose not to go the heroin route because needles and all that just was never for me. I guess when I was older when I got into drugs, so I kind of still had a little bit of a brain, and you know, meth was just the next cheapest thing for me to afford. The first thing, whenever you, I mean, I know there's a lot of questions. Whenever you first take the meth, or you can snort it, you can smoke it, or you can inject it. I've seen people do all three. My way was snorting. I've snorted every drug I've ever been on. It's not a pleasant thing to put up your nose at all. It burns like crap. And it will leave you with all kind of sores in your nose and everything. I've had nosebleeds. Whenever I first got off of it, it was so terrible to get off of. I just slept and ate a lot. The reason why, I mean, a lot of people ask me what was my reason for getting on it. Like I said, the first one was because it was the cheapest drug for me to afford. And the next reason was because I did drugs, I was addicted to losing weight. Meth is like a wonder drug for losing weight. I went from a size 26 to a size 12 in a matter of a year. That is very incredible. But the aftermath isn't worth it. My life has been cut short for my kids to be in this world with me, and it's not worth it. I'm left every day wondering if I'm gonna ever be able to get another heart to keep continuing my life, and you know, just to enjoy my kids. And it was never worth it. I was never allowed to see my kids because my people wasn't the type of people that was like, okay, let's put her kids in her life so she can maybe try to get clean. No, it was never like that. My people was dead set on keeping my kids away from me until I was totally 100% clean, and I completely understand them. I don't judge them for that. I'm thankful that my kids never saw me on this drug. The first thing whenever you take this drug, you get a rush. Your metabolism jumps, your blood pressure jumps, everything skyrockets, and it's like you can barely breathe. And this is when you first do it. It's not the whole time. This isn't what happens. After your metabolism jumps and all this lasts up from the time I snorted it up until about 30 minutes. I would get this heart rate through the roof, and it just felt like I was dying. And I kept telling myself, just get through this, just get through this. It's gonna I'm gonna get to a better high. That's ridiculous to say, but I'm just trying to be honest with y'all about how I was thinking as an addict. And after that, you would get the high. Whenever I was in the high part, this is when you freshly do it now, not whenever you're doing it back to back to back. This is whenever you get the drug and you haven't done it in a couple weeks or anything. You get it, and I would start cleaning, and I would start sweating. I was in a yard while it was raining for like a week, raking wet leaves. We all know how dumb that is. That's quite impossible. But that's what I was doing, and the weight was just falling off of me, and that's what I was addicted to. And I remember always telling people, because of how I felt about myself, I was gonna, if anything else, I was gonna make sure I died a skinny person, which now to me is stupid, because that's just not me. I'm happy with how I am. My kids are happy with how I am. But at the moment, I was addicted to how the metabolism was through the roof. Naturally, I didn't have metabolism like that. I was just like a slug. But that's why I was addicted to this drug, even though this drug, I hated the way I felt on it, besides the weight part. After you get the part where you're steady cleaning, you know, you're sweating them. To me, I was like sweating them calories off. It was like a constant workout for days and days. You get to the part where you start tweaking, and this is something you can't control, because you're gonna go through this part the more you do this drug. Whenever you start tweaking, a lot of people, when they get to this stage, they start, you'll see people tweak on cell phones. And whenever I say tweak, I mean like you get this constant looking into, you're just hung up on something. Like you can see people on their phones, like they're steady on their phones. This is what I call stuck. Okay, and a lot of people would get stuck on a certain thing they would do. Some people would get stuck on cleaning, like cleaned one spot. I'm talking about 4 hours. 4 hours. It's not nothing that you can control. You can't control it. And I remember days where me and, my brother would sit here and do this drug together. That's why me and my, we keep our separation. We love each other from afar, because, it's hard for us to be around each other, because we have those memories of getting high together. So he's clean now and I'm clean now. And that's how we're going to keep it. We love each other from afar. But we would sit up all night cleaning the house, fixing things around his house. It was just ridiculous, just doing things over and over, and you would feel accomplished. Like, it's crazy. Like, whenever you would sit here and do this stuff over and over, you was doing positive things in life, I would say. Like, you was thinking that, like, you're getting something done, you're cleaning, you're getting the checklist, you checking things off that checklist, but you was stuck doing it for hours and hours and hours. Literally, I'm telling y'all, I would be cleaning a kitchen for 6 to 8 hours at a time and couldn't control it. I couldn't control it. And that's what I was addicted to. I was sweating at the same time, and I was like, ugh, each little drip of sweat, I'm sitting there, I'm losing weight. But by the time I got to size 12, I looked sick. You could see all the bones in my face. I'm clearly not a person that should be like a size 0, because I guess I'm just big boned. I'm almost 6 foot tall, but That's not a size that I should be. After you get to this tweaking state, all right, what happens is, it's you start doing more of the drug. Okay, you're like, okay, it's been hours since I've done this. It's the cheapest drug to get, and also the high lasts so much longer. I'm telling you, you can be high on this drug for days, and I am not sitting here glorifying it at all. Do not get me wrong. This drug is something that, if you are like the kids on the street, like when you're homeless and you don't have no money, this is the go-to drug, because you're staying high, you're staying numb. Half the time you don't even know who you are. Whenever you've been, this drug will not let you sleep. It's an upper. Whenever you're up on this drug, you will not sleep. I've been up for 7 days at one time. 7 days. By the time I've been up for 7 days, I would have start seeing things, you know what I'm saying? Like, they like to call them the ghost people or something like that. It's like a whole little inside joke whenever it comes to doing meth or whatever, but it's not funny at all. It's when you start losing your mind is what it is. And I don't know. It's and one thing about it is, whenever you get to this part, you haven't drank anything. You don't even drink water. You're scared to drink or eat anything because you're scared your high is gonna go away. Okay, well, by this time you're drying up. Your body's drying up. You're cramping up. I remember one time I was laying on my daddy's couch, and I had come in at maybe 2 o'clock in the morning, which my daddy shouldn't have allowed, but he did. I was his child. He let me in his house. I was on his couch, and I was working with him at the time. He let me come in his house, and my body started drawing up, and I called him on my cell phone because everything was locking up. Like, my arms was like doing all kind of crazy stuff. I was looking like death, and I called him. I was like, Daddy, I was crying. I called him. I was like, Daddy, please come help me. I can't move. My body's locked up. And he come in there, and he was just like, he saw how shriveled up I was, and my mouth was foaming. I had white stuff crusted up in my mouth, and it was ridiculous. It was sad for a parent to have seen, and I'm sorry to him that I did that in front of him. I really am. And he got me something to drink, and I couldn't walk for a couple days. It was really ridiculous. All right, whenever you go into a meth hangover, this is the part where I'm telling you that your body torques up, but from the lack of hydration and everything. You return sober, not completely sober, but you return to a deteriorated state. Your body does. You're starved, you're dehydrated, you're mentally and emotionally drained. You can't think straight. This can last anywhere up to from 2 to 14 days. And when you're at this state, you're probably sitting here thinking, okay, after this they go to sleep and all that, and they're good. No. 2 to 14 days is when your body is going through this torquing up. You're still not gonna drink nothing. Your body can't sleep. I don't care if you try. You can take sleeping pills. You're not going to sleep. You're not going to. And the scary thing about that is whenever parents go to try to find their kids, and they're on meth and everything, and their kids are within this state, and they haven't had the drug, and you don't have to have had the drug in days. You're still high on this drug. This drug will keep you high anywhere from 7 to 14 days with just a little 20 bag of it. The $20 of this drug, you're high for 7 to 14 days, and you go through all this. That's why there's so many people on it, and so many people wind up in a meth psychosis, and that's the saddest thing you'll ever see in your life. Okay, whenever you start withdrawing, 30 to 90 days can pass, and you will still have this drug messing with your mind. A lot of people like to approach people whenever they're on this drug. If your child, and I'm telling you this now from advice, if your child is on this drug and you're going to try to find your child from a drug house or anything, do not ever approach any tweakers at their house going to ask for your child. Don't do that, because this is very dangerous. These people are out of their mind at this moment. They do not know who they are. Everybody is out to get them. It doesn't matter if you tell them, it's okay, I'm not out to get you. You're out to get them. They don't care. They think their parents are out to get them. Everybody's out to get them. Do not approach a meth head. Do not approach nobody like this alone. Don't try to go out and, I mean, I know you want to find your child and all this stuff. Don't do this by yourself, because this is very dangerous. I tell my dad, I've told, you know, people in the past, don't do that. I know you love them. Always make sure you have somebody go with you if you must go look for them. Call an officer to the place where you think your child is, just so you can go in and see if your child's there. Do not approach a meth head by yourself. You will get stabbed. I have had a point where I went in and I was in a motel room one time, and I was just with a bunch of friends, and they thought, because of the way I talked, they said I sound sophisticated in how I talked. They all, whenever I passed out, everybody left, took my phone, wiped my phone out, left my phone beside me, and left a knife on the pillow that I was sleeping on, because I sounded too sophisticated when I talked. But yet I was on the same drug as them. I got high just like they did. They thought I was the cops. I'm telling y'all, y'all can't. I'm going to insert some clips of before and after pictures of how people looked before they was on drugs, before they was on meth, and then after they looked when they was on meth. You age incredibly. It is ridiculous how much you age on this drug. I was lucky enough to not have been on this drug a long time. I was on it for about 2 years, and I was on it every day for 2 years, and I was not sober one day of them 2 years, because I was trying to numb pain. And if there's a drug that's gonna numb pain, it's this one, because I didn't know who I was half the time. Most of the time, I was doing things like, my heart was broken when I was on this drug. I started doing this drug because of being heartbroken. It's ridiculous, yeah, and trying to lose weight. Okay, so I was on this drug, and I went to my ex's house while he was with another girl and sat there and chilled with them. Like, I was out of my mind. I was high, of course, because I don't think anybody could deal with that if they wasn't high or something, you know what I'm saying? But I tortured myself day in and day out on this drug, being around them just because I wanted to be around him. And it sounds ridiculous. It really does. I don't know why I did that to myself, but I remember my sister calling my dad and calling my ex's mother, asking them, why are they letting me stay there? Why are they letting me do this to myself? The drug was letting me do this. The drug was allowing me to be able to tolerate what was reality and what was a dream in my head, because really it was all a dream. Like, I was so heartbroken, like, oh, it couldn't be happening to me. It was happening, but I was on this drug, and I was so high. I was up for 7 to 14 days. And by this time I was seeing shadow people, and nothing was real anymore. And I don't remember anything within them 2 years. It's like whenever you get on this drug, time stops. You're frozen. Time will not move. Whenever you come off of this drug and become clean, it's like you're starting off where you left off. It was 2 years later, people. 2 years later. But it's like I started off back all over again, because I didn't get nowhere in life. I was up for days and days. I lost count of days. I didn't know where I was, who I was with half the time. I was around dangerous people that were tweaking and was out of their minds, and at any point in time they could have stabbed me because they thought I was out to get them. This is the most dangerous drug that makes you... I've seen people in a meth psychosis, and what that is where the meth heads have been on this drug for so long that they remain in this state of mind as being a tweaker for the rest of their life. Even when they're not on this drug, their mind is on the drug, and they'll never come out of it. It's just like they're stuck. You're stuck. there's no other way to explain it as being, you're just stuck. You're stuck in your phone. You're stuck wiping that counter 100 million times. There's no other way to explain it. But there are cases like mine where I did make it out. It is not hopeless. If you are on meth and you need help, find the proper help. Like I've said in my videos before, I am not a doctor, I am not a counselor, but I have lived this life. And I hope that my story will help somebody, because I did make it out of that. It is not impossible. If you got something else to fight for, your kids, my kids, if it was not for my kids, everybody, I would have been dead by now. God kept me alive for something, and you will not get clean without God. You need God in your life. You got to have something else having your back. I mean, you got to think, if you're an addict right now watching my video, there's a reason why you're alive. Drugs are supposed to kill you. You're not supposed to stay alive. You're not supposed to make it out of everything. It's just, you're supposed to be alive for your kids, for your family. Like, there's no other way to explain it. You can get clean. There is hope. We do recover. And you got to believe in yourself enough. You got to want more in life. You can't sit here, if you're an addict watching, I'm talking to you. You can't be sitting there with your backpack on, with all your clothes, your 2 little outfits you got in the back, you know, probably clothes you stole from somebody else, you know, a snack here or there, you know, just trying to get by. You don't got no stuff to keep yourself clean with. You're hopping from house to house trying to get a shower, you know, and it's so embarrassing asking, can I get a shower, please? You know, then people don't want to give you no shower because they think you're nasty and stuff like that. You don't want to live your life like that. There is so much more in life. I'm here to tell you. Even now, it is a process. I have been clean for, I want to say, 2.5 years now, and it is a process. I am still, as of this day, don't have a regular place to live. I'm bringing a camper, but it is more than what I used to do. I take care of my own bills, and I have my own truck. These are things that I've accomplished. It's not much at all within 2.5 years at all. You have to work really hard. It is a process to get yourself back together, but you can do it. I want to go over some things, that medical problems that it causes. I started off having CHF before I started doing meth. Okay, this didn't help the process at all. What kind of heart problems it causes? It constricts the blood vessels in your heart and causes it to spasm. You have dangerous spikes in your blood pressure. It totally rewires the whole heart. The whole electrical system of your heart, it rewires it on how it wants it to work. Whenever it spikes your metabolism, your blood pressure and everything goes haywire, and it doesn't know how to cope with what's going on. Your heart, it can't catch up with it, is what's going on. This causes irreversible damage to your heart. It rewires the whole electrical system of your heart. It causes dangerous spikes in your blood pressure, dangerous spikes in your metabolism, and it's just, overall, everybody knows it's bad for you. What it did to me is it caused me to, like, I have, on top of the congestive heart failure that I have to sit here and wait on a heart transplant list to see when I'm gonna ever get a heart. And 9 times out of 10, I'm not gonna get one, because I do have an enlarged heart. And whenever you're trying to find a heart, you have to find one that's the same size. You have to find one that has the same blood volume that you have, so they could put the same heart back in your chest that you have. Well, in order to find an enlarged heart that's healthy enough to be put in another person, it's not going to happen. So I've come to terms with the fact that I'm not going to get a heart. But the good thing about that is that I can move on with my life and enjoy the things that I want to enjoy, like spending time with my kids and enjoying getting better with my family, instead of worrying about all that, because it's not going to happen. So, you know, it is what it is to me. So what you need to do is you need to focus on the fact that life does go on. Whenever you come out of, you know, all these drugs and, you know, just sitting here thinking life isn't going to get better, find you a counselor, depend on your family if you still have any family left, because this drug not only damages your body, it damages all your relationships with your family, kids, moms, dads. You will barely, if you will be lucky if you have anybody left after this drug, after any drug really. And you need to focus on yourself. Like whenever I got clean, everybody's like, I want to go back and be with my kids. No, you can't do that. You have to get yourself clean, because when you're going to be coming off of this drug for at least 3 months, it takes your body to get back to normal, and you will have so many little things that's going to affect you. Like even whenever I was on it, when you're like, you're so paranoid when you do this drug, and it's ridiculous, because like even now I get to where like if I would hear somebody talking, or you see people whispering or whatever, you just get paranoid about it, and that's the things that stick with you, and it's embarrassing to have, but you have to grow above that and move on with your life. But you need to be able, like, hopefully the thing that helped me is hopefully you'll still have your mother or your father, whichever one you're closest to, because if it wasn't for my mother walking through the hospital door that day, I had a heart attack and nobody was there. I was in Columbia Hospital. I was like 2 hours away from anybody. My mom somehow heard about it, and I was sitting in this place and I was homeless. I was about to get discharged. I didn't know where I was gonna go. I was sitting there hoping that the hospital was gonna keep me, because I had nowhere to go. So I was sitting there alone with nobody there at all, and just out of the blue they was discharging me, and my mother walked through the door. And to me it felt like, I don't know, I know she's not God, but to me it felt like God walked through that door, and I just a sigh of relief, and I knew I was going to be okay. And believe me, my mom is not the type of person that's very forgiving easily at all. My mama can hold a grudge from here to the end of life. And when she came through that door, I was like, I knew everything was going to be okay, because she's old school and she put her foot down. I mean, I could have still have done what I wanted to do, but I knew right then and there that was it for me. You know, a heart attack, you know, at 30 years old, my second one at that. I had my first one whenever I was 20. I knew whenever she walked through that door, that was it for me. And we didn't even, she just asked me, she said, "Are you ready to go?" And I'll never, ever forget that day. And I just said yes. And we didn't go back and go get my clothes, no anything. It was just, I hopped in her truck, in her Tahoe, and that was it. I went home, and it's funny to this day, but like, I ended up with that truck, and that truck has a lot of meaning to me. It sounds stupid, but that truck is like, was her chariot to come get me. If she's watching this, that's exactly what that truck means to me, and that's why I went and saved it from the auction from being sold. I saved up all my money and went and got that truck. That truck means a lot to me, because it was like God's chariot to save me, and I'll never ever forget her. I mean, she's my mom, of course. I'll never forget her anyway, but I love her so much for that, and she will never understand how thankful I am, even though we still have our ups and downs, and I still don't make good choices or whatever, but she understands. She's my mama. She knows me. I know her, and I just want everybody to know, like, everything's hopeless. I can't express that enough, but it's not hopeless. Whenever you sitting there and you have, believe me, I know the feeling all too well. If you're an addict watching this, that feeling where you're sitting there and you like, I have nothing, my family don't talk to me, because believe me, my family didn't talk to me. Like I said before in my other videos, I was throughout on the street, like, boom, get away from me. And because I wasn't treated like my sisters or anything like that. Oh, come here, and they babying them and everything. That's why I don't understand it. I still don't. I'm grown, but yes, I'll never understand why they treated her different, but I am glad they treated me different, because now I might be struggling, living in a camper, whatever, but I'm strong, and I know I can do it. I'm paying my own bills now. I don't have much, but what I got is mine. It's mine. It ain't nobody else's. I get fed. I make sure, you know, I'm taken care of, and I'm still sitting here lucky enough today to tell y'all about all this. And I'm going to insert some pictures that, you know, there was people while they was on meth and after they recovered. And that should give you hope enough to see how bad they look, because people on meth will sit there and pick their face. How my face looks now is how their face looks when they're doing meth, because they're constantly, like I said, when they get stuck, they'll get stuck. They get stuck. Some people get stuck picking their face, and they do it for hours and hours until they have open wounds on their face. Like, this suits this video really, because that's how a meth head's face looks, and it's sad. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. My sister, one time, she was in her tweaking state where she was out of her mind, completely out of her mind. And she was in the shower talking to herself, trying to get dressed and all that. And we was all in the kitchen talking, you know, talking about her, of course. And she just come in the kitchen butt naked, like she had some business. She went straight to the refrigerator, like she thought she was dressed. She didn't know she was butt naked. And we was all sitting in there, my dad, everything. And we just like, what are you doing? And she just, you know, looked, and she was like so embarrassed. You could tell she was so embarrassed. And, you know, we laughed and giggled, but it's not funny. Like, she was not there. She done that while my dad had some friends over. She just walked out in this sheet that you could see through. You could see her whole naked body. Just walked out there trying to flirt with the guys like it was something cute or something. And it's not cute. It's like, still to this day, she can't get right, and it's because she's being babied, like being babied. And I feel so sorry for her. And it's not even her, I mean, it's her fault at this point, because she does do the drugs, but she's not being taught to do for herself like I was taught to do for myself. She's not here thrown out in the street. And like, I don't know what else to tell my family. Like, they don't listen. They're only gonna listen whenever she's gone. And that's going to be the next step, because if she's, I mean, you can hear, you know, he say, she say, word on the street now, she's messing with fentanyl. I feel like whenever you get to that fentanyl stage, like, that's it. That's it. Whenever, you know, and it's sad because she followed after me and my, you know, my other siblings, because we started off on the pain pills. You know, she started off on weed. Weed is the gateway drug. I'm telling you. Y'all can sit there and be like, weed, all I do is sit back and smoke my weed. I don't hurt nobody. Let me tell you, these kids these days, the younger they starting, they're going to go try other drugs to see what other highs, which high they like. And whenever they find a high that they like, not everybody likes to be smoking weed, sitting back, chilling, cooling. That's not how everybody likes to be. Whenever your brain tells you when you like something. You can be eating a candy bar and your brain says, I like that. Your brain's gonna remember that. That's how our brains are wired to remember, for memory, okay? And they're sitting there doing a certain drug, and their brain's gonna be like, I like that. The brain's not going to forget about that. It's not going to let them forget about that. So then their body's going to start reacting. Oh, let's go get what we like. Let's go get what we like, so our body can enjoy and have that euphoria feeling, like in another world type feeling. You don't want to be stuck in this world of a meth psychosis, and I'm so scared that's what's going to happen to her. The damage that this drug does to your body is ridiculous. Your respiratory system, y'all, it is not worth it. The aftermath, it is not worth it. I really wish, you know, this drug wasn't cheap, so that every child from here to King Kong can get their hands on this drug. You can get $5 and go to the dope dealer and be like, get whatever you want. You can do it. You can get high with that drug off $5, y'all. I mean, and another thing is, like, people want to, your younger kids that you have, for the non-addicts, your younger kids that you have, I know people, you don't want to tell them about, you know, drugs and stuff like that, but, you know, I feel like if you tell them about the birds and the bees, tell them about the drugs, because I feel like they need to know. I was up front 100% with my son about everything. Not my two youngest ones, but my oldest one. He's 13. I told him everything about my life, because he's at that age where he hates me. He asks me questions, and I'm up front with him about everything. I have to be, because I want him to know that the stuff that I did is what took me away from him, so that he doesn't go out and be like, you know, well, my mama ruined my life, let me go get high and see what took her away from me if I enjoyed it. No, I'm upfront with him because I'm letting him know all the bad things about it. You know, some things that he might not need to know, but I'm letting him know it because I feel like you shouldn't cover, if you're going to, like I said, I don't know any other way to put it. You're going to tell them about sex and have a talk with them about sex, talk with them about drugs. Tell them, yeah, if you done it, tell them you done it. Don't hide it from them, because they're going to find out eventually from family members or anything else. And let them know the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, let them know there is no good to this drug, because it takes you away from your family. You lose everything that you will ever have.